Alright, I am going to show you how to use Google Sites and ideas for what to do with it. If you were at the June Summit and you saw Lindsay's presentation, she briefly touched on the manager dashboard that we use at South Madison. So this is something you can create using Google Sites. It's free, it's very user-friendly, and there are tons of potential uses that I probably haven't thought of. So this is our manager dashboard here. We have it set up as the home page for the managers when they first open Chrome every day. It's super useful for accessing online and web-based sites and web-based files. So in this top section here, we have all of our direct links to get to places quickly. We have all of our online programs that our managers use every day. These are all websites, so we've got their email, we've got MenuLogic, Premiero, and these are very helpful so that our managers can get places quickly and easily. And these are all direct links, so they're especially helpful if your managers do any direct online ordering. So if they order from GFS or Piazza straight from the website, they can just click one of these buttons here if you have that linked, and then they can go straight there. This is much better than using the bookmarks bar or using desktop shortcuts, just because the bookmarks bar has limited space, and sometimes you may have more links that you want to have shortcuts to than there is room on the bookmarks bar. So this is a lot better than that, as well as better than desktop shortcuts. Desktop shortcuts are confusing. They all look the same. They all have the Chrome logo. And we used to use those. It was kind of a disaster because all of our managers had trouble with them either remembering how to put the desktop shortcuts on their desktop, or sometimes they would get deleted, and sometimes tech would actually do an update and the desktop shortcuts would disappear. And so then we would have to remote into every manager computer and re-add all of the desktop shortcuts to their screen. So with this dashboard, it's a website and you don't have to redo anything. It's always going to be at the same link. I do put a bookmark to the website up in the bookmarks bar, but it only takes up one spot, and then it makes it easily accessible if they are at a different website and need to get back to the dashboard. Then in this bottom section, we have some of our South Madison resources that we use. We have our a la carte list for quick reference. We have our HACCP plan. We have SOPs that the managers can access easily. We have payroll and personnel. So here we have a sub-page with different links here, or lists going of what we would like to link. And we also have an ordering and inventory button, so that also has a subpage, and it has things like our vendor summary with their contact and delivery information. It has our DoD Fresh schedule, special orders, all kinds of good stuff there as well. Another idea is we list parent and teacher resources, so some of these might be links that the managers can easily print out. Things like PDF menus, easy school pay instructions, frequently asked questions for parents and teachers if they ever come to the cafeteria needing something like that. And then in this bottom section, we have links to the menu cycles to make it very easy for the managers just to click right here and look at their cycles if they need to. So some other ideas for use for this Google site or manager dashboard. I also have one for myself, so anything that the managers don't regularly visit or something that I need every day, I have that on my own dashboard. I also use this one, their dashboard, all the time just because they may have different links on here. You can also use it as an internal nutrition services site, so if you wanted to have a specific site for your school staff, you could put things like a catering event form, you could put menus, cafeteria staff info on there, how to use a cafeteria account. That would be easy for the staff to understand some things about how the cafeteria works. And then another option for using the site would be creating employee education and training resources on either a dashboard or a separate site. So you could add YouTube videos to it, you could add new employee program information, program overview, you could link to the Smart Systems SFS Pack portal, which has a lot of good training information. you could link anywhere you wanted if you had any specific training you wanted to share with your managers. And then next, you could also use this tool to create a nutrition services site, an external nutrition site. So you could create it and share it with the parents or the community if you wanted, if you had any information to share with them. You could use this to market your program, and you could even, if you wanted to create this on your own, you could put a link to this on your school's website, so it would be easily accessible from there as well. So those are some ideas of, that's how we use the dashboard, and then some other ideas about how you could potentially use it, but I'm sure there are a million more options for you. And then, so now I'm going to show you, I set up a sample dashboard site, so I'll show you that. Hopefully you have an idea now of how you might use it in your district. So I'm going to show you some features, I'll show you how I set up the site, and then I'm going to build a quick site at the end as well. So on the sample dashboard site, I listed step-by-step instructions on how to set up my favorite features. So Google, again, makes it super easy to set this up and use it. If this is overwhelming to you, I just encourage you to set one up and start playing around with it, and then you'll realize how user-friendly and easy it is. And then you'll also get the link to my sample site as well. And then some things to note before I get to the sample site are, you're basically building a website here, so you can have a home page, subpages, you can have links, you can have menus, anything like that. So everything must be online though, so if you wanted to link it from your manager dashboard or your site, it has to be web-based. So you can't link anything from your computer. You couldn't link a file that's stored on your computer or like a Word document. But if those things are backed up to Google Sites, you could link them that way. Hopefully you have everything backed up to Google Drive, just so if you lose anything off your computer, then you have it backed up. But anything that's on Google Drive or on the internet, you'll be able to link and store on your dashboard if you want to. Another thing is, if you're sharing any of your documents from your Google Drive, they need to be shared with the person who's going to be viewing it. So if it's just going to be shared with your managers, you'll just need to make it shareable with them from the document itself. And if you're sharing it with the public, you'll need to make it shareable to the public in the document itself. So first of all, how do you even get to Google Sites? Let me show you that, because many people may not know how to do it if you've never used it before. So you're going to go to the waffle menu up here in the top right, that 9 dots, and then you'll scroll down to this purple icon here, that's Google Sites. And it'll take you to the Google Sites section of your Google Drive, and this will show all of your sites that you have. It'll show where you can create new ones as well. It also has a template gallery here. You can choose a template that'll have a design, it'll have a layout for you, or you can create your own from a blank template as well. The templates are not permanent, so once you choose a template and you start editing your Google site, you could always change it. You can change the colors, you can change the layouts, you can change the fonts. So they're not permanent, it just kind of gives you a starting point. There's plenty of options for customization here. So this is the sample site I created, and it's going to take us into the editing mode of the sample site. I'll give an overview of features, and then I'll show you how to use some of the favorite ones that I have. So, first things first, once you build your site, once you have all of your features on there and everything like that, you're going to want to publish it, and that will publish it to the internet. So in the top right corner here, that's where you will publish it. Publishing is not permanent. Publishing just sends it to the web, and you can edit it at any time. You can take it down, you can unpublish it, and nobody's going to really see it unless they are viewing your site at the exact moment that you publish it, or if they don't even have the link, they're not going to see it. So if you make a mistake, if you don't like how it looks, you can always make a change or unpublish it as well. So in the top right here, these are some of your tabs that will have some of the features on them. The first one is the Insert tab. It has all of the features that you'll insert onto your page, and we'll get back to that one in a second. The second one is the Pages tab. So this will show all your pages on your website. So this is our home page, and if you expand that, it'll show some of the subpages here. And the subpages are just different pages on the website. So if you are on the Target homepage online and you want to shop for clothing, you would expand the menu and click on clothing, and it would take you to a subpage on the Target website. So that's all that is. Your website does not have to have subpages. You could just, have your main page on there, but if you do have a lot of links or a lot of features, the subpages can help it from getting too cluttered on there. And then the next option over here is themes. So if you did choose a template to begin with, if you didn't choose the blank option when you were creating your site, you can go over here and change your template, or if it is blank, you can add a theme. So this will just change the colors and the text and things like that. So this is where you can change it. You can update it as many times as you want. They did also just add a create your own theme, so I haven't used that yet, but I'm sure it gives you plenty of options and customization. So now we're going to go back to the Insert tab. So these are where all of the best features are. So this is going to be how you build your site here. So first we have the text box. This is pretty self-explanatory. It'll bring up a text box, and that already will be the width of your page. So you can change that. You can customize the font and the formatting and everything like that. Google does limit some of the customizations that you can make. So if you see these gray lines here, it'll snap to those when you try to resize it, so it'll kind of clean it up a little bit as far as size goes. After that, we have the image button. So this will insert any image that you want. So anything from your Google Drive or from your computer, you just click here and then you can choose an image to put on your page. Next, we have the embed function. So if you want a file or a folder to show directly on your page instead of just a link, you can embed it. And after that, we have the Drive button, where you can choose something directly from your Drive. It's already linked since it's through Google. And then under that, we have layouts. So if you did choose a template, your template may already have some layouts that look like this on there. If you chose a blank page to start with, these are just going to be options of pictures and text combinations that you can add to your site. So if you want to add one, it'll just bring up a picture plus a text option, and then you can insert any of your information that you want to put in there. So next, under that, we have some of the other features that are going to be more useful for you, I think. So the top few, those are, some quick links, but I'll explain them now down here. So first, I've got some Google Site Basics for you. I kind of went over how to do these, creating a site, creating a subpage, and then some potential uses there. So now down here in the right hand side, we have all of these additional features. So the first one I'll go over, I'm just going to go over some of my favorites. So the first one's going to be the collapsible group or collapsible menu. This is also pretty self-explanatory. You can make a title for your menu, you can format it, you can collapse it, or you can make it uncollapsible if you want. And then you can make your menu items here, anything you want, could be links, whatever you want to have there. It kind of cleans up a menu on your page and makes it a little bit less cluttered. The next option is buttons. Buttons is probably the feature that I use the most. So there are two types of buttons. One is a direct link button, and then the other is a subpage button. The direct link option is something that's going to take you directly to a website or directly to your Google file that you want to go to. So this is an example I have here of a Google search. If you want a button that takes you directly to Google so you can search for it, you would just insert a button using the button choice at the right, and then you can name it whatever you want. If you want to change the name to Google, and then you paste your link right here. you would click update, and then it'll change that. Some of the features that you are using once you're creating your site on the edit side, it's not going to let you use the features. So if you notice, I can't click here on the Google button, but if we go to our published option, our published side of the site, I could click here and it'll take me directly to Google. The other button option is a subpage button. So I showed you how to create a subpage, and if you want to create a button that goes directly to that subpage, you can name it the similar name of the subpage, and it'll link directly to that subpage. It'll bring up the choices of your pages, and you can just click whatever one you want. Next, we have linking to Google programs. So anything down here on the right hand side, you can link to docs, slides, sheets, forms, charts, any Google program that you have on your drive. You can grab a file from there. So you can, insert your Google Doc. It'll bring up an icon or a sheet or whatever you want. You can change the size of these so you can see them a little bit better. But this is just going to insert an icon so that your user can click on this and it'll take them to a PDF or however you want them to view your file. Under that, we have the embed function. This one's very useful when it comes to building your site. So if you want to embed something, that means that you want it to show up directly on your page and then the user can interact with it. So for example, if you want to embed a Google Doc, the user is going to be able to view it as well as scroll through it. As far as forms go, they'll be able to scroll through your form and submit your form. And then for a Google slideshow, they'll be able to flip through the slideshow. So I'll show you that on the published side. So like I said, if you have a Google Doc, you can scroll through it and read it. You can also make these bigger. If you wanted to make it the whole size of your page, you could do that as well. Here's a test form here. I can fill out the form and submit if I wanted to do that. And I can also embed a slideshow, and then my viewers can click through the slideshow. So that's very useful as well. And then another option for embedding is embedding a Google Drive folder. So if you don't want to link to individual forms or documents or anything like that, you can just put everything in a single folder, make it public or make it shareable to whomever you're going to share it with, and then embed the whole folder there so that they can just click directly and it'll take them to the destination site. After embedding, we have using media. So there are two pretty good options of media that I like. The first is the image carousel. So here you can insert multiple images. You can, for your viewer to scroll through. So this cleans up a little bit. If you wanted to insert images, you're not going to insert multiple images all over your page. It's just in one place and then they can scroll through it. With YouTube, you can use the YouTube button over on the right side and it'll bring up a search option so you can search directly on YouTube for a video that you're trying to find. This is another example of features that you won't be able to use when you're in the editing mode, but if you go to the published site, you'll be able to scroll through them and play your video. So I like image carousel. When you're trying to kind of market your program a little bit, you can show pictures of your program, you can show pictures of your food, you can show pictures of your cute cat if you decide to. You can do anything you want with the image carousel, but it does have to be more than one picture. And then for the YouTube video, that just is kind of self-explanatory. You can play it directly on the page if you had a training video or something like that to show on your site. And then I have some other features that I don't necessarily use as much, but I think they could be helpful depending on what your goal is with your site. So there's a Google Maps option, and again, this is another button over here on the side. Here it is right here. You can insert a map where you find the location wherever you want, and it'll show up on your page, and then the user can click on it and it'll take them to Google Maps on the website. So online Google Maps, a bigger map, they can search whatever they want. So I think it would be useful if you had, some links to your school maps, or if you really want anybody to find you, you can put your admin center. It just depends on kind of how you want to set it up and what your user's going to try to find. And then under that, I have the Google Calendar. So there are lots of options for using a Google Calendar. This is linked directly to your Google Calendar. So if you want to create a nutrition services calendar, you can put order deadlines on there, you can put treat days on there, or different special occasions on your calendar, and then it'll show up directly on here. So you would edit this directly through Google Calendars, and then it would update here. So I think this would be useful for different reasons. I think you could use it as the manager calendar like that, or you could put it on your website for parents to see, or for staff to see if you wanted to put the menu on there. That would be useful for them as well. And then lastly, I have some images on here. So this is just using the images button at the top, and this is kind of to show you the difference of inserting images by themselves versus using the image carousel. So it really just depends on what you want your site to look like, or what you're trying to show to your viewers there as well. And then at the bottom, I just added how to use or set your dashboard or website as your Chrome homepage. So you can follow these steps to do that, and just note that it's only going to be on your startup page if that's the only Chrome window that you have open. So if you have another browser open, it's not going to come up as the start page. So now I'm going to show you how to build a quick and simple site so you can see an example of the process. So your sites that you make can be as simple or as complicated as you want. It's totally up to you. So I'll go back to go start from scratch. So I'll go to my Google Drive, I'll click on this menu, and I'll go down to Sites. And then I will create a blank site here. And once it loads up, you're going to see all these options that we just went through. So you can title your site here. I'm going to title it ISNA site. And then you can give your page a separate title if you want. So you can make it Manage Your Dashboard. And then you can pick a theme. Since you didn't pick one to begin with, you didn't pick one of the layouts in the template gallery, you can pick a theme. So I'm going to pick Vision. And I decide that I like that one. So next I'm going to go back to the Insert tab, and I'm going to use one of these layouts. So I will choose the one with the picture with the text next to it. And then I will find a picture to insert. So I'm going to select it from my Google Drive here. And I'll find the folder that I want to go to. That's not the right one. And then I'll pick out a picture here. Oh, I did it wrong. I don't want to get it from my drive. I'm going to select image. That's what I wanted to do. So it is from my drive. It's just a different place. So I'm going to pick this pepperoni calzone. I'll insert it, and then it'll bring up the picture. So now I'm going to edit the text on my manager dashboard. I'm going to say welcome. And then I'll add quick links, because I'll put those below. So now I'm going to add a subpage like we talked about, and I'll go over here at the top right to the Pages tab. I've got my home page, and I'll use these three dots to add a subpage. And I'm going to name it Lunch Menu. Click Done, and then it'll take you to your lunch menu page. So here I'm going to insert a PDF of a lunch menu. So I'll go back to Insert, I'll use the Drive button, and then I'm going to find it in my Drive. So I'll go to the folder that I want, I'll find my menu, and I'll insert it. So here's my PDF menu, and you can change the size however you want to make it. And then that's how, people can go to that subpage to see your menu. But how are they going to get to that subpage? So we need to create a button for it. We'll go back to our home page here, and we'll create a button to get to that subpage. So we'll name the button Lunch Menu. And we're going to link it. It's going to come up here since the page name is similar, and it'll link to Lunch Menu. So we'll insert that. We can make it a little bit bigger if we want. We can put it in the center. We'll put it there. And then I decide that I want to make another button to GFS. So if my managers are doing direct online ordering, I'm going to make it easy for them to get to GFS to do that. And in this link section, if it was a longer link or something you couldn't remember, you can just go up to your URL box and copy and paste it as well. But this one's a pretty easy website to remember. So I've got my GFS button here. I'm going to move it up next to my lunch menu button. And I'll make them similar sizes. There we go. So I've got my two buttons there. I got my lunch menu linked to a subpage, and then I have my GFS as a direct link as well. And now I'm going to decide that I don't like this theme that I chose. So I'm going to go back to the themes, and like I said, you can change it whenever you want. I'm going to change it to this one, and I'll go with green. So then I decide I like that one, I'll keep that one, but if I decided I didn't like that, I could change it as many times as I wanted to. Okay, so now I remembered that I want my managers to take a survey. So I'm going to embed a survey. So when you do the embed function, you're going to need to have the URL copied already. So I'm going to go to my manager survey that I want to use and copy the URL. And I'll go back to my site, and I'll use this embed function, and I'll paste the URL. And then it'll find your page, and then you can insert it. This is another option where you can make it as big or small as you want on your page. I'm going to make it a little bit smaller here and put it right there in the center. So now I'm going to move a couple things around. I decided I don't like my layout. I'm going to move my welcome up here at the top, and I'll move this one right below it. And then I'm going to center this, make it look a little bit cleaner. Same thing with this one. And then I decide that I'm going to put my calzone recipe right next to the picture. So I'm going to search for my recipe using Drive. And I'll go to the folder that I have here that lists the recipe. And I'll put that in there. I'll insert it right in. Then I'll drag it up here next to my recipe and make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Alright, so now I've got that there. So now this is everything that I want to have on my dashboard, and then I can go to the Publish button, and it's going to ask me to make kind of part of the URL here when I publish it. So I'll do ISNA-site. If I wanted to change that, I could. So then I'll click Publish, and then it's going to publish it to the internet. It'll pop up here at the bottom if you want to view it. So then it takes you to your published site. And so this is what we just made. This has all the features that we just put on there. We've got our welcome, we've got our quick links. Here's our picture with our calzone, and then you can scroll through the recipe if you want to. You can make it bigger so that they can see the whole thing on the page. It's up to you. We've got our lunch menu page. That'll take us to that subpage there. And then if anybody wanted to read the menu, or they can also click this button here, take them to a PDF view, and they could print it out if they wanted to. So that's pretty useful as well. Then we can go back to our home page using this button or this site over here. And we can click our GFS button, which will take us directly to GFS if we needed to make an order or sign in. And then lastly, we have that manager survey we wanted them to take, so you can directly fill it out on the page without having to go to the link. Do you like the lunch menu? Of course. Why do you like it? It's delicious. Is school nutrition awesome? Duh! And then you can just submit it right there. This makes it super easy if you want people to fill out a survey with minimal effort there. So that's it. That's how you make a manager dashboard or a Google site. It's very user-friendly. It's free, like I said, and it'll take you just a little bit of time to figure out how to do it. So hopefully you decide you want to make one of these, and if you have any questions, you know you're going to get my information from the conference info, and then you'll get a link to the sample site that I showed you as well with those step-by-step instructions. Thank you!